Rivers Dito. Graham.
Alright, so how can we do that? Cam, right?
Serious about math here, so.
What if you do third graders? Third graders, can you give me third graders right here? That's, I mean, third graders, fourth graders.
Third grade, yes, this year's fourth graders, moving close to top now. Fourth grade this year, fourth grade.
Yeah.
Math and science. Never mind.
Okay, sorry.
Right there.
What's that double? It's in here.
Back real quick to our 99 Club for ELA, Sophia Cancino. Group of students are in the 99 Club for ELA and math, both. Avery Davis. Cal Lofton. Autumn Gilmore. Cohen Johnson. Mia Lee. Luke Monet. Cassie Hyde. Connor Page.
Of 99s in English and math.
Our last recognition, but certainly not our least, it's the 99 Club for math and science. In fifth grade, we need to take a science test. So we're excited to announce that Shelby Warren is in the 99 Club for math.
We have some recognitions for our middle school and high school students. So we'll go ahead and put it over here. All right, good evening. Very proud of our secondary students who will recognize tonight from Summerall Middle and Summerall High. First of all, let's congratulate Samantha Cardenas. A South District champion in Creed from the Junior Future Farmers of America. Congratulations. Our Summerall Middle School Beta Club competed at the state convention, and we'd like to recognize the following students. Darby Ford, who placed first in creative writing at the state Beta convention. We also like We also like to recognize Brian Beard, who placed fourth in math at the state beta convention. We're very proud of this student, Jackson Douglas, who was named Star Student at Summerall High. And as you guys know, Star Student is an honor sponsored by the Mississippi Economic Council, given to seniors with the highest ACT score and a minimum average of 93. Congratulations, Jackson Douglas. And as you guys know, our star student designates his or her star teacher, and the star teacher, in the star student's opinion, is the person who has made the greatest contribution to the student's scholastic achievement. And Jackson named Greg Failer from Summerall High School as star teacher. Got one more. Okay, so.
Well, we all want Kenneth, you want to come on up? Hold on, buddy. Kenneth Green, he was in the 99 Club for math. So we want to make sure we recognize. Our recognitions. So thank you all for coming tonight. It really means a lot. It shows the support we have in our community for our schools, and it means the world. It really does. And so, students, I want to tell you thank you for all the hard work, because you don't just wake up one morning and go and make a 99 on these tests or 35 or whatever on the ACT. It takes a lot of hard work, and then we just want to make sure we recognize that hard work. So. Just want to thank you for coming. If you want to stay, you can stay. If you want to use this opportunity now to kind of exit.
I know, I think I'm halfway out. I'm sorry.
Make them smart.
I have witnesses.
I can stay for a Boy Scout requirement. You gotta do what's up.
Yes.
Stay for a Boy Scout meeting for. No. Good to see you.
Yeah, he's got it.
Just make sure you watch.
Y'all, let's see what we got. We good here? Everybody?
Leave now or third of all things.
Make the next thing happen. I see. I know it's received. I like it. Good. Okay. Okay.
You realize they're not bad.
Yes.
Good.
They're sitting on the back row.
Next item, for business, we have to approve the March 7th, 2022 minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Next, we have approval of monthly financial report for February of 2022.
So moved. Second.
Got a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimous. Have a, next item is to charge a fixed asset custodian for lost and stolen iPad. I can't.
Can I open the discussion?
Well, no, so we have to have a motion and a
If
second.
you'll motion, I'll second for discussion.
Motion.
Got a motion?
I got a second.
Got a second for discussion.
I know we don't want to set a precedent of not covering these things, but my understanding is this is something without recipient. Is this
That's
negligence?
our, yes. And I say that hesitantly because I want to make sure, if you've got highly walkable items that need to be locked up because, we have other staff other people that are in classrooms on a regular basis and you wait for a period of time, especially in the students.
Did I read the report? It was on top of something.
That printer, yes.
Yeah.
So
Do we have a secure place to put it in
Yes.
most classrooms
Most
or
classrooms.
schools?
There's either a cabinet or a filing cabinet or a desk drawer. If there's not, most of our teachers now have cards and things like that, that they have their devices already, that they can lock, and then nothing else that you can go to the office or store it in the office. This is a very old item, so it's one of the Imagine iPad first editions. And so,
$4.98.
Correct. Correct.
Well, like I said, I know it's not a high ticket item, but I wondered about that.
All right, so we have a
What's your
motion.
motion, do you charge or not? I seconded it, I didn't ask.
Oh,
The title is charge.
yeah, motion to charge.
To charge, okay, and that's what I seconded.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
And that's unanimous. So next item is to approval to accept proposal from RJ Young for district copier contract.
So moved. Second.
Got a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimous. Next is approval to accept sole bid of $132,000 from NCS Interiors for ESSER district funded flooring project.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Next item, number 10, is approval to withdraw ESSER project of cleaning HVAC units due to no bids. It's easy.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
And
Say, you see, the struggle is really trying to find people to do it.
anything, yeah.
And to have supplies and supply chain issues.
Approval to withdraw project reverse auction of playground walls due to no interest.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That is unanimous. Next is approval of athletic training agreement between the Lamar County School District and Hattiesburg Clinic Sports Medicine. Yes. Everybody saw the contract.
So moved.
Okay, second with discussion, and it's my understanding that Rick reviewed the contract.
Correct.
Yes.
We did put this to the Ricky, had one of mine, assessment that they have the right, it provides sports medicine treatment and the right to first option of treatment of health issues and be more specifically sports related health issues instead of just all health issues. So they have the first option, first right of refusal for sports medicine and also issues that related to sports medicine only, not just a blanket statement.
That's consistent.
Correct, correct.
So we do have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
And that's unanimous. Next would be board attorney matters. Is Mr. Norton going to be joining us remotely?
No, he's not. So he's asked me, in this situation is about our school board boundaries. Every 10 years, when we have a census done, and we have to redraw our board boundaries to have equal representation from each board member, so that we don't have one, due to population shift from 10 years to this, that, the other. Most county districts will follow with county supervisors. With that, we can do that because, with the consolidation of Lumberton, some of our students dip down into Portland County, so we have to take that in consideration. So we can't necessarily follow the same as the board supervisor. So Rick asked me, if y'all will bear with me, this is like reading the King James Version, but he wants me to read this resolution aloud. Resolution in order. Whereas the Board of Education of the Lamar County School District, situated in Lamar County, Mississippi, has previously authorized Richard D. Morton, Board Attorney, to begin preliminary plans and preparation for redistricting the County Board of Education election districts in accordance with the 2020 United States Census for the establishment of 5 single-member Board of Education districts. And whereas the Board of Education has reviewed a preliminary plan for the redistricting and review of the same, found said plan is in accordance with the general instructions and references redistricting the school district. Further, that the Lamar County Board of Education is required pursuant to 37-5-1 Mississippi Code annotated 1972 as amended to reapportion the Board of Education election districts in accordance with the results of the 2020 decimal census as published. And whereas the discussion of the proposal redistricting changes have been held at the January, February, and March 2022 school board meetings, and further public notice of intended redistricting plans was published in the Lamar County Times on the 7th day of April 2022. Public input related to redistricting plan was received at general meetings of the Lamar County School Board on April 11th, 2022, in accordance with a notice to public published in the Lamar County Times. And whereas the proposed plan of redistricting for the County Board of Education election districts was posted in the superintendent's office, in the office of superintendent of the Lamar County School District, and the office of the circuit clerk of Lamar County, Mississippi, along with the statistical information as to the makeup of said districts. And whereas the Board of Education of the Lamar County School District finds under the law, statutes, and constitutions of the state of Mississippi and the United States of America, that it is required after the 2020 system to portion, restructure, redraw, and realign the boundaries of the 5 single Board of Education election districts, so that to comply with the one man, one vote rule and all other applicable laws, statutes, and constitutions of the United States and the state of Mississippi. And whereas the Board of Education finds that the plan as drawn and submitted to the Board of Education meets the requirements of the law and should be adopted as redistricting plan for the Lamar County School District election districts. And whereas the Board of Education finds that the circuit clerk and registrar and the commissioners of elections are authorized to administratively make such voter roll transfers and establish such precincts as are required to conduct election in said districts. Now, therefore, the Board of Education of the Lamar County School District finds, orders, and resolves as follows: to wit, that all matters and facts here and above set out and set forth are adopted and adjudicated as part of this order. The adoption of the reappointment plan of the Lamar County School District is required to comply with the requirements of 37.5.1 Mississippi Code annotated 1972 as amended, and other applicable laws of the state of Mississippi and the United States of America. that it is in the best interest of the Lamar County School District and all citizens that said plan be formally adopted by the County Board of Education, and that the modification of the boundaries of a single board member election districts of the Lamar County School Board, Lamar County Board of Education precincts, and the designation of voting plan places therein, as set forth herein, but be adopted, and that the appropriate transfer of voters be authorized and ordered. That the County Board of Education has full power, authority, and justification to adopt this order and resolution. That the reappointment plan of the Lamar County School District located in Lamar County, Mississippi is hereby formally and finally adopted by the Lamar County County Board of Education to be effective and enforced from and after this date. That the boundaries of the Lamar County School District single board member election districts in the precincts of Lamar County, Mississippi are hereby modified, changed, and altered to set forth, and the boundaries of the new districts and the precincts are by meets and bounds description in Exhibit A, B, C, D, and E, attached hereto and made a part of the fully copied herein. The boundaries are shown on the map attached hereto as Exhibit L. The reappointment of the district shall not affect or alter the term of any present holder of any office elected or appointed, each of whom shall continue to serve for the remainder of their respective terms of office, notwithstanding the fact that the effective date of the redistricting and the modification and altercation of the district may be effective earlier, and notwithstanding the fact that because of said redistricting and office holders placed of presidency might therefore thereafter be a different district. Hereupon the expiration of the present term of said officers, his successor must be elected or appointed from and in accordance with the new district set forth herein. Almost there, hang on. In the event of a vacancy in any of said offices, or in the event of expiration of the term of office of any board member elected for a staggered term occurring before the effective date of the redistricting plan, his successor shall be elected or appointed from and in accordance with the respective board districts. Such successor on election or appointment shall serve the term for which he is elected, notwithstanding the fact that this redistricting plan that may thereafter become effective, and notwithstanding the fact that because of said redistricting his place of residency may then be in another district. And in the event of a vacancy or in the event of expiration of the term of a board member elected or appointed for a staggered term occurring after the effective date of this redistricting plan, this successor shall be elected or appointed from and in accordance with the respective new districts set forth in this reappointment plan. That the circuit clerk and registrar and the commissioner of elections are authorized to administratively make such voter rolls transfers, and establish such sub-precincts as are required to conduct elections in said districts.
Was that the first,
Everybody wait.
was that first page in the quarter where we run on the sentence?
It's pretty much that way, because it has and, whereas, and whereas.
Yeah. Do we have a summer all English teacher?
That you had to read.
I had to read that. That's what Rick. So we also had to open up for just any public comments about our redistricting plan. Are there anyone here that wants to speak publicly about just our redistricting plan for our school board? Raise your hand, or wake up and raise your hand or sleep. Whereas if you're not here, and therefore, and thereafter, and yes.
actually feel sorry for you. Earlier, I thought you were joking. I didn't know you had to read that.
Rick calls from Ireland, so you've got to read this.
I think it's
Oh,
convenient, this is what you've done.
I see why, yeah, I think,
Yes, it's black and white.
exactly.
I get you to read that.
I'm gonna sign that too. The record shows there's no public comment, that the resolution and order has been read publicly.
I agree. And if we approve it, we have to sign it.
Okay. Well, I make a motion that we approve it, so he doesn't have to read it again.
That's what I asked. Is it good to read?
Don't read it
Any
again.
other-
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
That passes. Amen. Unanimously. So I'm gonna sign my part.
Okay.
There's a lot going on here. We'll sign that later. Looks like I got two places to sign.
Make sure
I got an initial.
Correct, where there.
Right, yeah, we'll look at that later. Ms. Land can tell us all about it. Next we have 16 section land manager matters. Mr. Harless is here with us.
And I'm good with every one of these.
They're all, yeah, I'll figure you were.
First item I have is to open and accept bids for 67 acre agricultural lease, 16-5 north, 16 west. There was one bid from JBW Construction, Josh Williamson, an amount of $20 per acre for a total of $1,340.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second to accept. All in favor?
Aye.
And that's unanimous.
Next item I have is to cancel lease number 408 for Edward Blake.
So moved.
Got a motion?
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
And that's unanimous.
Next item I have is to approve a new 40-year residential lease for Mr. Don Packer.
Make a motion. Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
And that's unanimous.
Next item I have is to approve assignment of lease number 766 from Willie Leggett to Ricardo McNair and Nick Young.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
And that's unanimous.
Next item is to approve a new 40-year residential lease to Mr. and Mrs. Crawford.
Make a motion. Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
And that's unanimous.
And last, or next item I have is to approve a new 40-year residential lease to Josh Williams.
So moved. Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
And that passes.
Last item I have is to approve the advertise and accept bids for a 16-acre agricultural lease, Candy Church Road, and Black Division.
So moved.
Motion and a second. All in favor? And that passes.
Thank you.
You talking to them?
Sure, but I'm gonna turn the floor over to our academic side, and I have a few things that I'd like to mention. I want more teachers to come up and do their presentation. We're doing first grade. This is pre-K, we're with kindergarten, and now this month is our first grade teachers. They're here to kind of go through some things with you that they're currently doing in their classrooms. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. We have Miss Jenny Brock and Miss Karen Patterson with us tonight. They are part of the first grade team at Summerall Elementary School under the leadership of Mr. Daniel Summerall. And they're going to share some things with you. I told them, don't do anything extra. Do what you are going to be teaching your kids. And so I'm excited for them to share with you some first grade skills.
I'll start out with math. And I have some previous parents and students that So while Jenny's setting it up, Mr. Summerall asked this to be short and sweet, so and if y'all were wanting something long, sorry, we already kind of long.
Well,
I was gonna brag on y'all for being so quick.
I ruined that.
So in first grade, we have 4 critical areas in math. We have operations and algebraic thinking. Yes, we do algebra in first grade. Numbers and base 10, measurement and data, and geometry. And that's just what I'd like to talk to y'all just a little about in first grade. So in kindergarten, they have 6 standards in the area of geometry where they learn to identify the basic 2D shapes and 3D shapes, position skills. And then in first grade, we have three first grade standards in the area of geometry. We have these posted in the classroom, the standards, what the students will be doing, and we have it in kid-friendly language. So one of the first things that we do in first grade, and we just completed part of our geometry unit, so this is something that our students just did, and they learned the attributes of both 2D shapes and 3D shapes, how 2D shapes are closed shapes, but it doesn't matter the color or the position of those shapes or even the size. And then they have to compose different 2D shapes to make a new composite 2D shape. For instance, doing these two trapezoids. It's really cool if your first graders talk about trapezoids and quadrilaterals and rectangular prisms. It's amazing what our first graders can do. And then this week, we're learning about fractions in first grade, but we don't use numerator and denominator so much in first grade. We talk about the words halves and fourths and quarters, and I found over the years that you have to use that language early in the year, because when you talk about quarters at this time of year, they're thinking money. So that's something that I just use that language early in the year. We turn our papers over and divide our papers into quarters and practice different things on our paper. The students, I had 100% mastery in both of our geometry skills that we've tested so far. And now we have, this week will be finishing up our fractions unit, where we talk about halves and fourths and whole and comparing equal shares. 1/2 is the same as 2/4. And all of this to say that all of those students that stood up here the way over there, making those amazing scores in math, it starts with kindergarten and first grade. We've got some outstanding math teachers at our school, and I'm so pleased. My heart was just swelling. We teach everything in first grade, all the teachers do, but I do have a heart for math. So Ms. Brock's going to tell you guys a little bit about some ELA standards.
One of the things, we spend a lot of time on the reading foundational skills in first grade, because that is teaching the children how to read. And once they're fluent readers, then we're supposed to love to read and develop a love for literature. And one of our standards that we are going to start working on next week is, and we display our IPN statements in the room in kid-friendly terms, so the students always know what we're working on. So this one says, I can tell the difference between short and long vowel sounds when I hear a word. And that may sound like something pretty basic, but we have a lot of vowel teams, and I'm just going to give you a few examples of activities we do. I put them on the board. We might play a game, and we might say, okay, which words have short vowel sounds? And they'll have a short sign and a long sign. So when they hear the short, they'll raise the short. When they hear the long, they'll hear the long. They'll raise the long sign. And so we'll do some practice, but you can kind of see how we can go through it in a game like this to introduce a skill. And sometimes they just look at the number of letters in the word, but we want them to really look for those sounds. And if a child, we have some in first grade that read, they come to us reading. And so everything we do is differentiated, so we can meet the needs of the high learners, the learners that need a little bit more help. But we would keep going through a game like this, and they would raise their paddle for long sound, short sound. So it's not just single letters. We're looking at the 2-letter sounds at this point in the year, words with blends, and that sort of thing. So we would go through the game and then work in centers later on a scavenger hunt or something like this, where the students would be in groups based on their reading level, and they might look at words in their book that have the short A sound, write that down, the long A sound. And this is where you really get into that differentiation of your learners, because we have students in the first grade that are reading on 3rd and 4th grade level, so that's the level of the book that their group will have. And then for our learners that struggle a little bit more, or that maybe are working in that inclusion group with the Hispanic teacher, they have a lower level book, get a little more help, that sort of thing. So we try to really look at that scaffolding document and back up where we need to for the students that are struggling. We move ahead for the ones that are ready to move on. This is an example of a practice test, and then this is the common assessment. In first grade, we have a common assessment for every skill because we're non-graded, so they would get a plus if they received 80% mastery or a minus. And we have Saxon phonics and Summerall in first grade, and so we teach them how to code the words. So like on that first one, teach, they would put a line over the E, cross out the A because you don't hear it, and you would be surprised at how quickly they get to where they can decode those words and become fluent readers. And then when they get to third grade and are taking that third grade test, they read fluently, they comprehend. So we work really hard on the foundational skills just to develop them. Any questions about first grade reading?
We have talked in our prior is, you gotta learn to read first so that you can read and learn
Yes.
later. And so the quicker we can get them to read and learn. is our goal.
We tell parents all the time, they'll say, your child doesn't like to read, I hated to read. And say they don't like it until they're good at it. And so once they get the hang of it, they just go.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Teresa's got another document she's
Yes,
and
and it just has the first grade goals, by subject area, which will pass them through the, we're in school. And those are the requirements, for first grade in ELA, math, science, and social studies. The goals of what we want kids to be able to understand and do by the end of first grade.
if you have any questions about those, contact me here. All right, so thank you so much, you guys. Appreciate you coming and doing that. I really appreciate all the work that you do. And again, the success, it starts there in those early grades. And once you build that foundation, it just moves up. And so that vertical alignment is so important. So thank you so much. You did mention the third grade reading gate. So we start that tomorrow in our district. And so we're excited to see what our kids have learned this year. It really is an opportunity for our kids to shine as we look at. And the things that they've been taught in this year. And so we're super excited about our students being able to shine on these tests. And so our state tests start tomorrow, and they run pretty much now until about the second week of May. Because we got, from third grade all the way up to, well, we got the kindergarten assessment as well, the MCAS. The grade, right? It's great. I didn't, all right, and then it goes all the way to high school. With our secretariat test there, and so just super excited about that. Seeing what all they've learned. Along with that is that we did opt into. I know if y'all saw the news article in the Mississippi Department of Education. Is the they call it Paper as a company, but it's an online tutoring that our students we've opted in, and it's free tutoring anytime after school hours. They can log in using their Google student account. And they can have one-on-one help with a tutor through this company who's certified, and we'll be able to help them. One thing I want to make sure that the person on the other side, it is a person, does not have access to our students. They have it's an avatar that our students. So we make sure that they'll be safe. We still ask parents to monitor, that sort of thing. If they have issues, we have a form that they can fill out that the district office of school will have. But it's going to be an opportunity for our students to get that extra help when they're at home and trying to do algebra in the first grade and
mom or daddy doesn't know.
fractions. The spirits kind of wince when you do the fraction, and so and so they have there's a whiteboard that they can actually put the problem or copy and paste the selection or whatever in, and so that the tutor and the student can see. The tutor's been trained not to give answers, so if you're going to call asking for the answer, not going to happen. They're going to use a Socratic method of asking questions to get them to come to the answer and get them to come to the answer on their own. And so no matter how many times they ask for the answer, the tutor's not going to do that. Pre-K, we've got pre-K registration open right now, and so we're looking forward to seeing the numbers in the pre-K registration. Every year we have a waiting list. It is awesome to have that waiting list. but it's also, you know, we just wish we could serve more students. It's one of those things that the more we could get. But I will tell you, we had cruising into kindergarten Friday before last. No. That's how long today was. It was last Friday. You could not have asked for better weather. I do want to mention Head of the Lines and April Burnside. We had 2 different locations, one in Meadow Grove for our Summerall Meadow Grove students and one in Purvis for our Lumberton, Baxterville, and Purvis students. And it was fantastic. I started out in Purvis. I ended up in Oak Grove. The participation, the jumpies, and you know, everything that went along, and then the movie afterwards, it was fantastic. And so they did a phenomenal job of organizing that event, and it was just well received. Mr. Folks got old cruising, so he got old cars to come, and it was funny because they have all these, like the Cobra, you know, and all these old cars, and the kids love the school bus. They love the school bus. They were eating it up, and that was awesome to see that. It was almost kind of like, this is hard good, you know. So, yeah, we might need to get a license and get them to start driving them, you know, that sort of thing. So, our intercession, you know, since our last board meeting, we had our intercession. You know, our numbers were as high as we expected, but we had some quality intercession time. 21st Century grant that we mixed in with our middle schools. We're mixing in our 21st Century grant with the elementaries and the robotics that we just received. And so that's going to be on the slate for the future. But it was just a good opportunity for students to get that extra help that may be struggling right here before that time. And so it was really good, really positive. Our faculty was really positive about the time they were in the health students, and students were positive about being there. Had a bad weather day on the Friday that kind of impacted our overall average of daily attendance, and we had to pick up an hour late just because there was weather coming through. And so it was one of those things where I'm going to go for an hour, you know, from an hour late, you know, so that's drop off there. Want to mention our bands just completed their concert evaluations, and very proud of our bands that represented well. I do want to mention that our Purvis band, that All Superior, our Summerall band was All Superior, but they also were Scoop Stage winners. That means they got all ones in marching band, they got all ones in concert, and all ones in sight reading. So from every judge, they got the highest rating from every judge throughout this school year. So they were Scoop Stage winners. So very proud of our fine arts programs. We also included in that is Mississippi High School Scholar Athletes Award, and so we have program, each individual sport or activity is covered in the Mississippi High School Activities Association. They have a 3.0 or higher GPA, their Scholar Athlete Awards. And so we have, throughout the district, we have 73 extracurricular activities that met that with an average of a 3.53 GPA, which is a 90.57 GPA across our district. So very proud, because it speaks to the excellence on the field, but also in the classroom. So that's it. Whereas and therefore and thereat. Whereas, you know, I'm done.
You're doing more talking tonight than I've ever known.
No, I'm just not a very good person today.
You're on it tonight.
Thank
All right. We need to set the next regular board meeting for May 9th, 2022. Me either. I'm all on it. Screw stuff. I could be there. You really-
you.
Where are we
Good.
going?
Huh?
What back at the district?
Yeah, back to district office. Let's see what Texas.
And what's the time?
Yeah.
If it was Thursday night, we're gonna finish it. So,
That's our meeting.
everybody make it nice. Make it
All right, so we need a motion.
I'll make a motion that we set that as May 9th.
Okay.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
And that passes. Next, we have the consent agenda that we've already made an adjustment to, so there's no need to even talk about that one. Mr. Bradwell, do you have any questions about the consent agenda? Ms. Pierce? Okay, Ms. Hensley?
Your questions?
All right, good deal. So at this time, accept the motion to accept the consent agenda as presented. So moved. Okay, have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
That's great. All right, so we have, next we have other, and there's nothing there. So then we need to consider executive session. We have some 16th section land matters that we need to discuss and possibly vote on.
I would, make a motion that we consider it.
Motion to consider executive session, okay. Got a second, all in favor?
Aye.
That passes. Anybody want to make a motion to enter?
Motion we enter it.
Okay, got a motion there. And a second to jump to, all in favor? That passes. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're in executive session. Wes, if you could please come swing this gavel and get this for us, and that'll end the meeting. Could you, please? I think it's a great idea. First board meeting, make sure you make it loud though, because these people don't get kind of unruly out here, you gotta let them know. That's it. It's right there.
There you go.
Thanks.
Hey, I have a quick question.
Hey, Charlie, that's-